Hello everyone, welcome to this new episode of our ISO tutorial series. Today we're going to add animations to ranged attacks. And luckily we already have the animation assets in our game because they were part of the last import that we did. So we can just go ahead and let's see what we get so far. So let's build and run. So we can move, we can do an attack action, and we can at least do something that looks like it has an effect. But as you saw, we don't have an animation yet. We can solve this. The first pass we'll do is solve this by just making sure that we can at least see an animation. And what we could do is we could take the melee attack animation, also assign it to our rogue. But instead of this animation, we can look at what this one looks like. Two-handed ranged shoot. And we can copy paste this one in. And this should now show an actual attack animation. So let's move. Let's stack. And we can see the actual shoot action. We also saw the hit action. So this, depending on what your preference is, this could be good enough. So, and if we would stop here, well, this could be a very short episode. But what I want to go one step further. I want to see a projectile from the crossbow moving towards the knight before hitting it. So we're going to do a bit more than just this quick hack to at least see the attack action. And that requires us to at least, well, first let's get rid of this. This requires us to create a new function to create the correct animation. So let's go to our game scene and let's go where we have a melee attack animation for an entity. We're going to create a new one called a function create range attack action for entity. This one takes in an entity and returns not just an action, but it can also return an array of SK nodes that are sort of additional effects. So this one does a bit more than create a single action for an entity. It also creates an array. It might be empty, it might not, that has additional effects. Could be particle effects. In this case, it will be a projectile effect. So first we need to get our ranged attack action. And that's our entity's current action as an attack action. If this fails, will return nil and an empty array. We also need to have a target. If we don't have one, again we return nil and an empty array. Then we need to have a stun double. So we'll copy our entity. And we need to find the new rotation. That's the rotation from look direction, and we can use our target position.xy minus the entity's position.xy. Otherwise we take our stun double's current rotation. So far nothing new, and we set the stun double's rotation to this new rotation. Then we create the attack animation. And this is a get animation for entity for our stunt double. And the animation will be called ranged attack. Then we need to complete action. Create a complete action for the entity. And we need to get a sequence that makes sure that we do the attack action and the complete action. Okay, so this is this is not anything new yet. We could have copy pasted, but I think it's bad to go over it another time. So we also need to get a target screen position. So we need to convert a world to screen position, and the reason is this is where the projectile should end up. So we take a target position. We add a bit of verticality. That way the projectile isn't moving towards its feet, but it's moving towards its center. And the direction is our current looking rotation. Then we need, this is for our effects. Then we need to get a projectile. This will be an SK shape node. This can be a circle of radius 2, for instance. It'll have a fill color. I'm using system gray, but you can choose whatever you want. It has a stroke color. I'm using system gray 6 for this. And the projectile has a start position. This will start at our entity's position, so the attacker's position. So we do another convert world to screen. This will be our entity.position plus again some verticality. So we should more or less from the position of the crossbow instead of from the feet. And we take in again rotation. We also need Z positions. And we will use the maximum of the target. Oh, we also need a target screen Z position. So what we do is we take the maximum Z position, either that's the one at the target position or at the entity's position. We're not going to lerp here. So we do target screen Z position, or we do a convert world to Z position for our entity's position with the same verticality and rotation. Then I set the projectile's position to a CG point. Projectile screen position.x. Projectile screen position.y. And I set projectile.z position to a CG float. Projectile Z screen position. Okay, so now we have a projectile that isn't moving yet. So we also need a projectile move action. That's an SK action of move to our target screen position, not the Z position, the target screen position, target screen position .y over, let's say, well, let's do it in a second so we can see it a bit better when we try it out. Then we have a projectile action. That will be a sequence. The first thing we will do is we will hide the projectile. And we do that because we're going to wait for a bit of time, and we're going to wait for the attack animation to finish. Because we first do the attack animation here. So I just want to make sure that that one is done before the projectile appears. The projectile will appear after shooting. Then we can unhide. Then we can do the move action. And finally remove from parent. So this way we can actually clean up the projectile. And we do projectile.run. And we do the projectile action. Now we have both an attack animation and an effect. Now we can return the sequence of the attack animation and our projectile. But we're not using it yet. To do that, we need to go all the way up to where we're doing redraws. And this code needs to change a bit. First off, I want to make sure that we have not just a root node for all the fixed stuff, but also a root node for our effects. And we need to make sure that we add it. Then let's see. Then we need to make sure that we get our animation here, create animation for entity, but we also need the effects. To get the effects, I think what we need to do is we need a way of getting the effects that we created. What I'm going to do is this. The create animation for entity will create an animation and effects for an entity, and this will return both an animation as well as effects, just like the other one. Oh, can't I use label names? That would be unfortunate. Oh. Okay, so of course now these ones don't return what we need them to return, but we can fix this by making sure that we, for the most part, return empty arrays. You can add FX also to the other animations if you want, but for now I'm not going to do that because I'm happy with the way they currently look. So now we get back an animation and some effects. So this one will become if let animation effects equals a create animation and effects for entity. And then we do, let's see, we do our let animation effects equals this one. This returns the tuple that we want, and then we can do if let animation is animation effects dot animation. Then we can play the animation, but we can also go through each FX in animation FX, and then take our FX root node, add a child FX. I think now all that is left is making sure we also do the create the ranged attack action, and we'll do so by, we have the attack action here. If range equals 1, then we do the melee attack action, else we return create ranged attack action for the entity. and this one already returns the correct tuple. Oh, this one should be our entities. Attack range. Let's see. We're calling this one action here. Let's just make sure that we call it animation. I think that's a bit more consistent. Let's see if this builds and runs. Just a quick one. We do need this one, but this will be a ranged attack, otherwise we can't find the correct animation frames. Let's move. Let's attack. Look, we see a very, very, very short, slow animation going about. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back to our game scene. And let's speed the ranged attack up a bit, because this looks a bit silly. Oh, that's the wrong 2. That's the wrong magic number. The duration should be a lot faster. Okay, hopefully it's okay now. Yes, that looks more or less okay. I do think the projectile is a bit big, so I'm going to do a circle of radius 1. Yes, that does make a lot more sense in my opinion. Okay, one final thing I want to do is this this file is becoming pretty long, and actually everything from here until here is all about creating animations. I'm going to extract this into a separate file. So I'm cutting, then I create a new file, and I will call this game scene.animation or plus animation, and we'll do an extension on game scene. This requires us to import SpriteKit, and here we copy paste in all that animation stuff. Where is it? Oh, did I just accidentally undo my creation of the file? No, it's still here. Let's see if all this copy pasting was successful, so it still builds. Test should also still pass. Very cool. And you can put this one here. So what we did is we created an extension. Basically we have now a class that's split out over 2 different files. In this case I think this is a nice and simple solution to get at least some more clarity in at a file level. However, the game scene class is still doing a lot of stuff, and you might want to extract all this creation of animation stuff into a separate type, into a separate structure or class. But for now, I'm not going to do this because I think this is simple enough, and all this code is similar enough to understand that these things are just procedurally creating different types of animations. This also is the end of working on attacks. So we have a melee attack and a ranged attack. Next episode we're going to work on teams and turn order. And that is something that we need both for the game to make a bit more sense, in the sense that you can only, for instance, control your own units, but also it's a prerequisite to do any form of win or loss conditions. So next time we're going to start with teams in turn order. Thanks for watching and have a good day.